I just installed this Cozeware mini split cooling and heating system that will save me hundreds of dollars a year by strategically conditioning rooms in my house. There's also no need to spend on an expensive HVAC company to install this, as it's very DIY friendly, and in this video I will show you step by step how I installed mine. Let's start by unboxing this unit and I'll let you know why I chose this specific mini split. First of all, it's very efficient and it runs off of 115 volts, which is great because I run part of my house off grid, so this will work perfectly. It's also very quiet and has a small footprint, so it will fit perfectly into a tight, very tight space that I have in mind in my family room. So let's get started. Let's start with the outdoor unit, since this will be the first thing we install. At the very top we have the wiring, so this will be the wires that go from our electrical box to the outdoor unit, and this will be the wire that goes between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit. Of course, I'll show you exactly how to connect these later in the video. Here, of course, we have all of the other parts that are necessary to get this installed. We have our copper tubing, so that will go between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit. We also have the draining tubes, which will drain the excess condensation from the inside unit. They also include the tape for the line set, so we can make it look better. And of course, I'll probably put a cover on that as well, but this will help us make it look nice. We also have some putty to put in the hole we're going to drill in the wall, so no critters and stuff get in. It's nice to see that they also have some installation hardware like these anchors and screws, so we can get everything installed without having to go to the store. So here's the outdoor unit. Let's flip it around. Looks nice. I mean, nothing special, but it should do the job. It's nice and compact as well. So here's the low and high side for the line set. As I mentioned earlier, this is a 115 volt AC only unit, so do not connect 220 or anything like that. This is also what makes it more DIY friendly, because we're working with lower voltage. This unit also uses R32 refrigerant, so that's not as common in US yet, but I think it's coming at some point. So it might be difficult to get this refilled, but if you do everything right, you don't have to get anything refilled. And of course, what makes this high efficiency is that this uses an inverter. And of course, this can be used as a heater or as an air conditioning. And in fact, that's what I've been doing with the other units I have installed in my house. I use them as heaters in the winter, which really helps save on gas costs, because gas is expensive, because this will efficiently cool a specific room that I'm using and not necessarily the entire house. So if you mostly sleep in just 1 or 2 bedrooms, why not install a couple of these in those bedrooms, warm them up at night, and leave the rest of the house as is. Super smart. In this box, we have this template, which will help us install the indoor unit and make sure it fits where it's supposed to fit. It's definitely a good idea to read the user's manual. It will tell you all the things you need to know on how to get this installed, how to set it up. And this is kind of the idea that we're trying to do here. And of course, we have the remote, so you can just use the remote if you don't want to use the app. If you're wondering where the mounting bracket is, well, it's already pre-installed on the indoor unit. Of course, we're going to remove the screw, install it on the interior wall, and then hang this interior unit on the bracket once we're done.
Let's start by installing the outdoor unit. I decided to buy a mini split mounting bracket just to make it easier. It only takes a few anchors and bolts to mount it on the wall.
And this is not going anywhere. You can put a ton of force on it and it doesn't go anywhere. And that thing only weighs, I don't know, 20 pounds or so. And technically for the bracket, they do give you extra bolts, so you can put an extra one here or here. I definitely don't think it's necessary, so I'm just gonna skip that step. All right, let's put the unit up. So the unit came with these rubber feet and the bracket came with these little ones. I'm gonna use both just to make sure there are no vibrations at all. Same thing in the back. All right, and the unit is mounted. So here's what it looks like. Here's my old unit sitting on some pavers, and this one is nicely mounted. So this is where I'm thinking to install the indoor unit. Technically, you're supposed to have some space on both sides, but I think should work just fine. After mounting the template on the wall where I want it to be, I will be drilling a pilot hole to put the line set through. And first I'm going to start with something like this. So it's just going to be a pilot hole, get it through at an angle, kind of pointing down just a bit so the condensation drains well. Then we'll go with a bigger one, and eventually we want something like this, so we have enough space to put the line set through. So here's where I mounted the unit, and that's where that hole came out. So it's pretty much perfect. So we can go next to this line set. It goes all the way up to my bedroom. Now we just do the same thing from the other side. Perfect. There's the hole that goes all the way inside the house. As you can see, it's on an angle, so the inside hole is a little bit higher, about 1/2 inch. That way the line set points down. and it will drain well. So I'm going to be using the same hole I used to hold the template in place to put my bracket in place. Of course, you want to make sure it's nice and level. Yeah, this is super solid. Quick test to see if that works. It's exactly what I've been looking for. Excellent. But there are a couple more things we need to do in the back here before we mount it permanently. First, we have to straighten out these copper lines so they can go through the hole that we drilled in the wall. So I'm just going to hold it here very carefully. Basically want them to be nice and straight up like that. Of course, we also have to extend our drainage pipe so it comes out the same hole that we drilled in the wall. Now is also a good time to connect these wires to the indoor unit so we can feed this through the wall. It'll be much easier to do that now than later on. Let's open it up and see where those wires connect. That's where the wires will be going. I'm gonna take off this retaining clip. There we have it. And of course, these are very nicely labeled, so there's no way you can confuse which one goes where. So the black one's gonna be the line, the white one's going to be the neutral, the green one's going to be the ground, and the signal wire is this number 4 wire, which is the red one. It'll just go into this number 4 slot. That's all we have to do on this side. Super simple. This retaining bracket simply goes in here like that, and then we can put the screw in as well. Of course, you can follow this wiring diagram in case you need to, but like I said, it's super simple. So let's just put that back in and put the last screw in. And we're done as far as wiring for the inside unit. Now comes a little bit of a hard part. We have to feed this line set, this wire, as well as this tube through there. I'll start with the wire because it's the longest one, so it'll be the most in the way. Next, we can do the water drainage pipe. All right, now the hard part. Ideally, it just kind of all goes through. I think it did. You want to make sure the drainage pipe is at the bottom because otherwise it will not drain as well. It's on the hooks now. That's pretty much it here. The indoor install is pretty much complete. Now that we have the connection from the indoor unit sticking out of the wall here, we need to connect the line set, so 2 of these copper pipes. But of course, first we have to straighten them out. These will have to be torqued to spec for them to be leak-proof, so this is the important step. The easiest way to straighten these out without creating a kink is to just lay them flat like this on the ground and roll them out. Just like that. You can do one at a time if that's easier. You do not want a kink. That's very important. That should be good enough for now. Of course, it's gonna be very difficult to see because it's all the way up there on the wall, but I'll be removing this protective cap and then screwing it into the lines coming from the indoor unit. And then we're gonna torque it to spec. The air coming out is normal. That's not the Freon. The Freon is in that unit down there. Now this is where we have to pay attention because this connection must be torqued precisely. So for the 1/4-inch copper pipe, the torque specs are between 18 and 20 Newton meters, which is what I set this torque wrench to. And I've also installed one of these open-ended wrenches on my torque wrench, so that should work perfectly. Let's get it torqued. Once you hear the click, it is done. The 3/8 copper pipe requires 30 to 35 Newton meters. You want to check the flange here as well, make sure it's nice and even, which this one is. And keep the copper pipe as straight as possible while you're tightening it by hand so it goes on evenly. Then we can use our tools to torque it to spec. We're there. The next step is to wrap this entire line set in this tape that's included. So I'm just gonna go around, wrap it all, and go all the way down to the bottom. So this might take a while, but get it done. And yes, you want to make sure that the drainage tube is the one that's the lowest out of all of them here. All right, so here's what it looks like. Not too bad. Now we can remove this cover on the outdoor unit so we can connect our copper pipes. So since these connections are pointing up, I want to bend these copper pipes so they have a nice smooth radius and no kinks or anything like that, and there's going to be no stress when we screw them in. Something like that should work. In fact, let's screw them in. So we're just going to take off these covers. Check the flange, looks really good. I want to get that angle as perfect as possible so it sits flat like this. This flange looks good as well. Get it aligned perfectly. All right, with everything torqued to spec, we are ready to vacuum out the system. Before we can release the refrigerant into the line set, we have to vacuum out all of the air and whatever else, is there any moisture, anything like that. To do so, I'm going to be using this cheap vacuum pump, It was like $100, maybe less. So you can definitely get those on Amazon. I'll have some links in the description. And since I don't have power here, well, I'm going to be using one of these power stations to power it. And you will also need a set of gauges. This one has been slightly modified to make this work. And what I've done is removed one of these connectors from the blue line, this thing right here. I removed that part and installed this adapter. So this adapter right here, that will fit onto the service port right here. And then we screw it into the blue line on the gauges. And that's pretty much it. The yellow end goes into the vacuum pump right here. Make sure this is nice and tight. I'm gonna open up the service port and screw in our adapter with the blue line, the blue hose. Make sure it's really tight. That should be good. To start with, we wanna make sure this is closed, and now we can turn on our vacuum pump. So the pump is on, and now we can slowly open up this valve. So now it's pulling the vacuum from all of the lines. Open it all the way. As you can see, there's moisture and other stuff coming out of there, so that's why you need to do this. And we want to vacuum this out for probably about 30 minutes. So I'm just gonna leave it like this, leave it running for 30 minutes, and we'll be back. So it's been about 30 minutes, so we can close off this blue valve. Close it completely. Turn off the pump. And now with the valve closed, we just leave it for about 15 to 20 minutes or so and make sure this needle doesn't move. If it does move, that means there is a leak in one of the connections and we have to retighten them and redo the vacuum and then test it again. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Hopefully it stays just like that. And if everything looks good, we can then release the refrigerant into the line set. And while we wait for that, we can take off this cover, which will reveal all of the electrical connections that we have to make. And we can do those now. There's a little diagram here that shows us which wire goes where, so I'm just gonna follow that. And of course, they're also marked here, so it's very easy to do. Just like that. So these are the wires coming from the indoor unit, and here I have the other wires, which will be going to the disconnect box. Since this is 110 volts, you can just put a standard plug on it and then plug it into a power station or a solar station or a DIY cart or whatever and run this completely off grid. All right, and the electrical connections at the outdoor unit are now done. So the only thing that's left is to get this wired up, and I'll leave that up to you because that will really depend on how you have it set up. All right, so it's been another 20 minutes, and as you can see, we are still at negative 30 PSI, which is great. That means all of our connections are good to go. Now we can actually release the refrigerant into the line set. With the blue hose still connected, we're gonna take off both of these caps. There is a two-way valve in there, and that's what we're gonna be using to release the refrigerant into the system. And for that, you're gonna need an Allen wrench. So we're gonna start with the high side, which is this lower one right here. We're gonna open it about 1/4 of a turn for about 5 seconds. And at the same time, we can look at the gauge and see that the pressure is becoming positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close it. With the system pressurized, we can now safely remove our blue hose. There will be a puff of refrigerant or whatever coming out, so maybe wear gloves if need be, but we just gotta be quick with this one. All right, I'll put the little protective cap back on. Now would also be a good time to spray some soapy water on all of your connections and make sure there's no bubbles. If there are bubbles, that means you have a leak. After testing the connections, we can now release all of the refrigerant into the system. So I'm gonna slowly start on the high side. Just let it go. And we can unscrew this all the way until you feel just a little bit of resistance. Stop there, don't go any further. Put the cap back on this one. And now we can do the same on the low side. And that's it. And we are pretty much done here. We can put this cover back on now to hide those connections, protect them from the elements a little bit. Done. It has been a couple of weeks now and I've had a chance to run this as a heater and as an air conditioner thanks to Midwestern weather. It really helps that this is 20 SEER 2 high efficiency unit as it doesn't draw much electricity at all. So far I have been extremely happy as it's the quietest unit I have at only 31 decibels when running in sleep mode. I'm pretty sure the ambient noise is louder in this room than the actual mini split. But of course if you crank up the fan speed, it's a bit louder, but also a lot more powerful. So you can definitely move some air around the room and probably into other rooms if you have an open floor concept. Look at that. And the official Cozeware app works great as well. This has helped me not run my central air in the house, already saving me money as I'm only cooling down and warming up rooms I spend a lot of time in. Checking from here, it looks like the temperature is about 65 degrees, but that's a little bit deceiving. If we get really close, and I hope you can see it, look, the air coming out all the way in the back there is actually about 44, 43 degrees. Impressive. And of course we can use the remote, so we can switch this to heat. It'll probably take a few minutes for it to warm up, and then we'll see what kind of temperature comes out. And a few minutes later, we have 80-degree air coming out of the unit. Let me get a little bit closer, see what the actual temperature inside is. Oh yeah, 115, so plenty of warm air coming into the room. Speaking of saving money, check out the links in the description to get this unit plus all of the other stuff I've used in this video, and I'll even include a discount code for you guys. Since the last install part of the video, I have put putty in the hole I drilled into the wall, as well as installed this cover kit to hide the line set. I'm looking forward to saving electricity, not having to run this big unit all summer long, especially as I'll be running this off of solar power. Check out this video right here where I built a solar card that could easily power this unit for hours, and leave your comments down below letting me know what you think of this product and this project. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel for a lot more content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!